Bills and Jets coming away Sunday, 1 o'clock. We just had our check-in with Sal Capaccio. Now we're going to go to the Jets side of things. And joining us on the Western Hotline is Andy Vasquez, who covers the Jets. We've had him before and ready to dig into this matchup. Andy, good morning. Jeremy and Joe, thanks for taking some time today. It seems like even though it was a loss in Week 1, that the Jets, or people watching the Jets, might feel a little better about how things are looking this year. I'd say Bills fans at least have that look on it.
Yeah, I think, the expectations were so low going into that game for the offense, and suddenly the offense puts up. I mean, I've been on covering this team for 10 years, and that was probably the best offensive performance I've seen from them, which is insane, but it's true. It was balanced. They were able to run the ball when they wanted to, and they had an identity, and that was the thing. This team very rarely has had an identity on offense that you're like, oh, they could go back to this and it'll work. And they did it all game, and it kept working. And obviously that's something to feel good about. But the other thing is, Aaron Glenn, the new coach, was brought here to teach his team how to win, games like that, and the Jets still found a way to lose. So
yeah.
Obviously there's progress to be made, but some things to feel good about as well.
Yeah, the end of that game, did it feel like they kind of got, I don't know about robbed. Sean McDermott even said it yesterday, like he felt like they should have won that game. There was that fluky play to Metcalf, a 60-yard field goal. I guess, how unlucky does it feel like the Jets got in some respect?
Yeah, I mean, you could go down the list. There was a couple penalties where, a late hit started the first drive for the Steelers, where they ended up scoring twice in the first minute of the fourth quarter and turned a 9-point Jets lead into a 5-point lead for Pittsburgh. There was obviously the fumble on the kickoff return that got Xavier Gibson, who had the big return a couple of years ago against the Bills in overtime Week 1. That got him cut yesterday, and that allowed the Steelers to score those two. It was right there for them. I mean, they really should have won the game, and that was the thing last year when they got into the big early in the season. They played all these games where, against Denver they should have won, against the Patriots that they should have won, and they didn't get the job done. So it's a weird balance. Like, you've got this new regime, and this week's going to be telling how they respond, because there was a lot of this, we were close last year and then it didn't work out, and they became excuses and, crutches, and kind of an extension of everything that was wrong with the team in 2022 when they started 7-4 and lost the last 6 once they got in the playoff position. So there's still the scar tissue from that, and this is going to be the big challenge for Aaron Glenn is teaching this team how to make that one play that they didn't the other day, because they really should have won the game. They dominated it, and that feels weird to say, but they did.
I've made reference, Andy, a few times to the Jets' hire of Aaron Glenn kind of felt like the Bills' hire of Sean McDermott, where long drought, guy comes in and he's going to kind of reset things his way. And that McDermott team made the playoffs. It's, of course, before Josh Allen shows up and completely changes things around here. But with the Jets, what is a good season? Would it be good enough to just have moral victories, or do you think that they have enough talent that they have a bit of an eye on competing and trying to stay in a playoff race?
I think they definitely have an eye on competing. I think they definitely, especially after the other day, think they have the talent on the roster to compete now. And I think the bar is higher. I don't think, like, after 14 straight years out of the playoffs, after all the frustration of the last 10 years, since their last season above 500, and some of the just bad football you've seen, I don't think there's patience among the fan base. I think they want to see progress, and that means they have to find a way to win some of these games. I don't think that means they have to be a playoff team, but you got to get to like 7-8 wins, somewhere in that range, and stop losing games like they lost the other day when you play well enough to win. I think that's, kind of what the bar is. So it's definitely complicated. It's definitely like there's not the honeymoon that you would think this guy would get as a former player.
Yeah.
it's a little bit, fans are understandably frustrated and angry after years of kind of having to watch a non-quality product. So I think it's possible, and we saw that identity the other day if they can build off of that. But yeah, there's going to be second guessing even after this weekend if they can't find a way to upset the Bills. People are going to be asking questions, and if he's the right guy already.
Yeah, and it can turn fast. On that word identity, is that what is it for the Jets offensively? I mean, Justin Fields, journeyman, but looked like he played pretty well. Are they feeding and featuring just Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall? Like what is the offensive identity of the Jets ideally looking to be?
That we're going to run it whenever we want. That's how they feel. That's kind of how they operated against Pittsburgh. And I think the first drive of the game, it was something like 10 runs and 12 plays, and they marched down the field for a field goal. And then they kind of just start setting up Fields off of that with play action and using his threat as a guy who can run better than basically any other quarterback in the league, using that to kind of, put the defense in tough positions where they have to make a choice. So you're going to, let Fields get loose with his legs here. You're going to let him make these throws that, he hasn't always made in the past. And he made them on Sunday. But, again, we've seen ups and downs in his career. And, he has to prove that he can keep doing it over and over again. So I think that's going to be kind of a work in progress. And, for the Jets, it's going to be those throws. They clearly showed the other day they can put him in position to make, those throws that are best for the offense, the easiest throws, but he has to make them. If he does like he did the other day, the offense can be good. But it all starts with the run. It all starts with Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, the three running backs, and then using that rushing attack and the strong offensive line they have, even after losing Elijah Vera Tucker for the season, using that to kind of create gaps and opportunity for Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Those are their top two pass catchers by far.
And early returns on their rookie offensive linemen are very good one game in.
Yeah. Membu, the number 7 overall pick, PFF had him rated as the highest graded offensive tackle in week 1. That's not just rookies, of any tackle in the league on their grades, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, he went up against TJ Watt, didn't allow a pressure or a sack. That's a pretty good start to your career.
Yeah.
And considering that he lost the guy he's been practicing alongside in training camp on the Tuesday before the regular season opener. So clearly, he's ready. I think the Jets, I think definitely against the pass, protecting for the pass, they're going to be worse off without Elijah Vera Tucker, but the way they've shifted things on the line, they can still, all these guys are still excellent run blockers, and that's going to be, the key on Sunday is, how much have the Bills adjusted after what happened against Baltimore against the run the other night, and, how much have the Jets refined what they did against Pittsburgh, and can they keep that up? And I think that's going to be, what keeps this game close or why the Jets can't hang with Buffalo.
Andy Vasquez of the New Jersey Star-Ledger on the Jets. Andy, thanks for the time, and enjoy the game on Sunday.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.